Move went surprisingly well for as difficult as moves can be, but it went well.
Now, it's such a short distance, it's almost, did you just walk everything over?
I did a lot of that, yes. But for anything that was really heavy, we used the van to bring over here, and we had great help from a local moving company. The Sexton Brothers Moving really helped us out, and they did all the heavy lifting, all the real dry mount press, all the stuff that I couldn't strap to my back and walk over here.
And why did you move?
For a lot of reasons. One is we realized that we needed a refresh over at the other space, and it's very hard to do in retail. So it would involve closing for renovations and everything else, and this allowed us a chance to do that while we were still open there and can service all of our customers' needs. We realized in a space like this, we have wonderful parking. A lot of customers, framing is still a big part of our business, the biggest part of our business. A lot of our customers are bringing in larger and larger pieces all the time. And that's a symptom of the homes being built larger, open floor plans. They need these giant paintings. So with the parking in the old space, asking somebody to walk 3 blocks with a 40 by 60 painting was really difficult. Here we have a 45 car lot where they can pull right up, walk it right in, or we see them as they're coming out, and I often just run out and help them in with it. It's very, very easy. I think Sturdy can probably speak better than I can to the history of the building, but it was built in 1867. Originally it was a little bit closer to the street, but then when they built the building in the front, they moved this space back, and it's been here for quite some time now, and Sturdy's actually had offices here for the better part of the last 40 years. And his father had a main office upstairs as well. We've actually used this space for overflow, for insurance jobs, for restoration work for years. So that was also one of the reasons for our move, just to consolidate the 2 spaces.
I grew up in Wellesley. I grew up in Wellesley Hills. I lived on Emerson Road. My father owned he bought the property in 1954. The front building on the property where Century 21 Commonwealth is was a private home then, and so he purchased it in 1954, and he actually turned it into a funeral home. So the front building was J.S. Waterman and Sons. And so when I was a kid, that front building was a funeral home, and this building my father used, it was mainly office space. And the memory that first comes to mind when I was 10, once or twice I was in this building. It was all 3 floors were shoe boxes, and it was the East Coast headquarters for Nike shoes. So when Nike first started in the 60s, their 3rd employee came out here with a mission to open up an East Coast office, and they first wanted him to go outside of New York City. He went to Long Island. He didn't like Long Island. He had a friend in Wellesley. He came up here, and I've heard him tell the story because I met him in person, and he saw some very pretty Wellesley college students and decided Wellesley's the place. So he rented this 592A Washington Street in 66. And back then, they mainly sold to track teams and the local colleges and maybe some of the prep schools. But they sold the running shoes to them, and it was only here 2 years because even in the 60s that Nike started to grow, and they were here for 2 years, and they had to rent a small warehouse in Natick. They outgrew that, and then they bought a huge shoe factory warehouse in Exeter, New Hampshire, and so within a few years, they were up there.
So the artist that you see all around you right now is an artist named T.M. Nicholas. He's a very prominent Rockport painter, the lineage of all the well-known Rockport painters, Aldro Hibbert, Emile Gruppi, Bernard Corey, some wonderful, wonderful work. And TM is sort of one of the real premier painters that we've carried over the years. We have a great working relationship with. We started doing shows with him back over 20 years ago. And we thought of him first when it came to our sort of inaugural event here, kicking off a whole season of events. We have many, many events planned throughout the fall and even the spring already. So we really wanted to do it up right, and he was the first person that came to mind. It's a typical New England plein air painter, sort of that American New England almost impressionism developed after the French, and a lot of the guys up here did it just slightly differently, really focused on the light and changing seasons in New England, and TM is a great sort of continuation of that tradition. Japanese print show coming up just in a few weeks. We do that once or twice a year, and it's always a big success. People wait all year for it, and so we're really looking forward to that. We have a show with with the estate of a recently deceased artist following that in early November, sort of a mid-century abstract painter. And then after that, going into the holiday season, we have our sort of big show, which is going to be a focus on Boston and cityscapes, and not only that, but including well-known Boston painters and a real focus on very local art. Well, as you know, this will be our third year doing Next Up, the student event incorporating all the artwork from high school kids. So we'll start reaching out to the local schools very soon to talk to them about that. We plan on expanding it this year, which is good. And we're really looking to how it's going to work in a space like this, because I think it's going to be that much better to do an event. I think this venue really showcases the art so much nicer than the previous space.